Eden was 40 cubits above Earth, above the mountain. So Eden is technically not on Earth. So when they looked at it, they came down below, which is like coming down to another dimension, you could say, but came down below. But they were still on the mountain. And so now Adam and Eve died a lot after that because they didn't know how to eat, drink, none of that. I mean, after a while, he was like, Lord, if the serpent is over here, like, please don't let me go over there. Like, I don't even, like, the deep part about it is that when we sin, continue to go because we don't die at the moment, right? Like when Eve touched the apple, he said, surely you won't die if you touch it. But God didn't say that to Adam. He said, you know, you eat it, you'll die. The serpent told Eve, he said, if you touch it, surely you won't die. So when she touched it, she didn't die and nothing happened. So she kept going on with it, right? Now when she ate this fruit off the tree, the serpent was there, and he said he went into her, but it wasn't sexual. He possessed her. And we know it wasn't sexual because in the garden, they didn't have digestive system, anything, any of those things. Because Adam tells you that when they get out the garden, because they didn't know how to eat. And actually, Satan appeared to Adam and tried to convince him to marry Eve. That's how the marriage of Eve even came up. And Adam was vexed. He was like, bro, I don't know what, I don't think I'm supposed to, I don't know, right? But the moral of this story is that when Adam was in his garden, Eve was in the south side of the border, you know, on the mountain. You had the people that was below the mountain. Now on this mountain was brimstone and fire and stuff like that going up the mountain. And so the ones that below the mountain couldn't come up the mountain. Yeah. And the ones that below the mountain was raw nature. It was nature. It was raw nature, you know. And so what we're talking about is raw chaos. And so raw emotion. All these three things go together, right? Nature, chaos, emotion. So that's why you're not animals. You're not a dog. You don't act like an animal. And the reason why we're not animals is because we can control sexual urges, sexual tendencies, i.e., you know, the R-A-P-E word, you know what I mean? Like, and we control all these things, and like we control our diet, we control who, like in the animal kingdom, and I ain't want to mate with you, he just mate with you, right? We control our tendencies to want to kill the other man, to kill the other king, yeah. So those things that were below the mountain, then it was this raw, chaotic energy, emotions, lust, fear, panic, i.e. pain. Now, you also had the satyrs out there, or the satyrs out there. The ones who like fluffy goats with that they're supposed to help man, God man in the forest, and they play the flute.
Right.
And they'll have like human bodies, or sometimes like, but they'll have like goat legs.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
Now when Cain, I'm sorry y'all, that was loud, bro. Now so when Cain killed Abel, so you had Adam and Eve, right? And you had Cain and Abel. Now, when many don't know that they also had two sisters. Okay, so when Cain killed Abel, oh, actually, let me go back. Let me rewind a little bit. So when Adam was going through, which is Adam and Eve, and Adam was going through all these trials and tribulations. And by the way, God called them angels at this time because He communed with them, and they were perfect, because when they did mess up, they had God to correct them. Which walking in, if you mess up, that's it. If the reason why the Lord can say go off and be perfect, you know why? Do you think you can be perfect?
Close to it.
Right.
Perfect,
So
I don't know what it means, but close to it.
okay, so but how do you be perfect? Okay.
I wonder.
Now let me give you an instance. Now, you're a father, and you give your child this book of all your laws, right? And and so now when you mess up in school, whatever, let's just say school, and you interrupt the class. Now, this is what I want you to do, and I wrote it down so you know I want you to do. It's like you write the rules of the house down on and put it on the refrigerator like mom used to do, right? Okay, right? So you disobey my mother. The dishes ain't done when she get here and stuff like that, right? Okay, you got laws now. Now, if you got home late from, basketball training, you got a test and you got to study for a test, something like that, so you can really do dishes, but you've been studying all night, you got a study group, right? And she already told you though, if that happens, you need to let me know, and you need to, as soon as you get here, you need to go ahead and knock them out, or knock them out before you go to school in the morning, right? So now that even though I couldn't do the dishes that night, I knocked them out and let her know, and I knocked them out before I got to school that morning, right? So now I can do dishes that night, they disobey, right? And so in God's word, they deserve death, right? But so what I did to correct her to get grace, I called her, let her know, and then I did it before I got, so now she's happy. So are you not perfect by what your mom said?
Yeah.
If you tell your son, hey, man, you disrupted the class, I need you. When you do that, you need to go apologize to your teacher and apologize to the class in front of the class. And he disrupted the class, so he got a letter home. But then he tell you, but Dad, I got it from the teacher and I apologize to the teacher and I apologize to the class. Did he not work in perfection? Exactly. That's how you go and walk and be perfect. But in God's world, you gotta know the laws. You gotta know His laws to even walk in that world. Like it's narrow. It's a narrow path. It's His laws. It's His laws, statutes, commandments, heritage. It's all of that. So if you know that, even when you stumble, if you do the things He said to do when you stumble, and go to Him, you're walking in perfection. That's why He said, go off and be perfect. Even when you stumble, I told you what to do when you stumble. Now, if you don't do that, now when you walk into chaos. All right? Okay, so now let's go back to what Adam was doing. So Adam was perfect in this world. He was going off, and though he kept dying, because it was a new world in him, God was there to guide him, to carry him, and lift him back up and tell him. Matter of fact, everything that Adam did, where he died at, where he walked at, the Lord said, I'm gonna die right there too. I'm gonna walk right there too. And God He said that He sent His Spirit, the Word, to Adam. So the Word is who?
Let me not mess up Adam.
Yeshua. the word is Yeshua. The Father is the thought. The word is the Son.
Yeah.
So he sent his word to Adam. So Jesus was talking to Adam the whole time in the garden.
Okay.
And I told you, Jesus, the Lord is 7 spirits.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you understand that Adam was actually talking to God, and he was talking to the word the whole time. The word that was protecting him and guiding him and undeading him. I mean, bringing him back to life. Every time he died, and said, "I'm going to die in this cave too. They're going. In 3 days they're going to rise. And don't worry, because I'm sending a flood over there. Don't go too far west. Because I'm sending a flood over there. You stay over here for right now." So now the whole point I got into this is to say, when Adam was in the wilderness, right? His newfound place. When he was going to and fro. Now, the only animal that didn't get named by Adam is the serpent. The serpent kept his name since the Leviathan, which is also the serpent. What the Lord called him, that snaky serpent that slithering when the Leviathan, which is the devil, right? And so you can't have a Tiamat without Leviathan. So now you put Samaria in order. Samaria is here. Adam and Eve is here. And everything below them that's going to eventually mate with each other and create Samaria. Samaria are lesser gods than these guys. That's why Samaria worship gods. Where they get those gods from? The original of the original. You know what I'm saying? So now, when Adam was going through the trial and tribulation, he walked one place because I don't want to say, I don't know what he was, I don't think this is the point. I know there's one part he was vexed at the fact that he was vexed at Eve. Because I think that the devil tricked her. The devil kept coming at him in different ways. He kept coming at him to trick them. So while Adam said, "I'm going to go over here and fast," and you go over there and fast, he would come to Eve in the form of an angel and say, "The Lord has brought me and told me to tell you to go to Adam." So he get Adam out of his fasting. Right? And so Adam had went off to a way to go and fast or something like that. He was going away to something. And this is when a spirit of a woman came upon him. But a woman that you could physically touch, have sex with, all that, right? And she was enticing him to have sex and said that the Lord sent me because surely you are tired. In other words, Eve has fulfilled her purpose, that you are tired, whatever, and you should have sex with me, or you should impregnate me and marry me. And this was what we call Lilith. He told her no. And then so she went and took around and made it with her creator, which was Satan. So now I want to tell you another story. Now, another time where Adam was roaming in this area, a family came up to him, and this is when he was enticed to have a family, to marry Eve. Private time, don't quote me. But anyway, this happened in the book where they came up to him from the water. A whole family rose from the lake. They came up on him because Satan was showing them. He said, "No, I got better things for you to do than to be a carpenter, because God gave them fire, Adam fire and all stuff like that, right? So to work the field and do it, I got something better for you where I'm at, right? Matter of fact, I got a whole kingdom of things out here, people out here, things out of my creations or whatever." So you see the people come out the river, out the lake, and start talking to Adam and Eve. Then they let out these calls, and then they say, all these other creations that look like humans and angels come out, but they're all animals. They're all, what we just talked about with chaos, they're all raw nature spirits. And some of them, not all of them, are forms of animals. Right? You got this is what we get, what we call the enchanted forest. You also got the elves, the sprites, and the fairies, and the pixies, and all that. They're more with nature, like the the elements of nature, the raw emotions of nature. That will do it that right. Lead you, guide you, and deceive you, and trick you, and all these things to make your knowns and all that stuff like that, right? Steal stuff, trap you, all these things, right? And all these things are inherently chaos, right? So now, when you understand a little bit of what the satanic view is about the body parts, and each body part relate to a spirit, and we know about the chakras and all these things, right? All these things relate to emotions, right? Which is, that's a chaos, which is why Zeus and some of those gods was having babies out of their necks and stuff like that, because it was out of emotional points, it was out of rage and fear and lust, and it was out of all these things that was going through, right? And so, and also we're talking about, you know, when people get possessed and they hike up the wall like a spider, like a bat, or they act like a dog, and they growl, and they hiss, or they crawl like some type of animals, right? Like when you see somebody afflicted, and like people on the street, they be shaking and sweating and going to and fro and can't think like a pig, right? Right. So, which is why when the demons was in that guy, Jesus put him out the guy into the pigs, throw the pigs off the cliff. Right, so, and then which is why when he called the lady a dog, she really had the spirit of a dog. People say, oh well, it's because she was Sumerian and they, you know, but when you go back to at the beginning when she was that too, right? But the word was always with the Lord, right? The word created it all, right? And so when we talking about this, and we know that all the spirits that Satan was using, was used with the serpent's blood, which is full of wisdom and knowledge, right? And he was able to make apparitions and things in people of clay and all these things like that, and apparitions of the animals. He took 200 animals. They took 200 animals where the bloodline, and he started getting more. They took 200 animals and manipulated them, right? And then they had to mix them later on to make them big enough for the giants that was produced, so they can have food for them. Which we get, then you start getting dinosaurs of intelligence and large dinosaurs, right? But to narrow it back down, to go back to the beginning, all of these apparitions, so the people that came out the water, what do you think that was made of? Those reptilians, right? People out of the water, those reptilians, right? Then you had Lilith come, and I believe that she was made with dog, right? So then you had all these other things that came out the forest to the sea, but Satan made them all look like humans. And we know this because even they tell them, say, yeah, they just look like that. He told them, he said, they only just look like that to you, but they don't really look like that. So one time he drugged Satan as the serpent, the one who's in the garden, not the one that's in the chaotic waters, the Leviathan. This is another version of him, the one that's in the garden. And he drugged him to Adam, and he looked like an angel. You think two angels? So okay. So now you know that these apparitions coming to Adam and Eve look like people but are animals, right? You go beyond this, and that's another thing. Another point to add to this. When you get to Revelation, you talk about the beasts of Revelation. I see this, and there's a beast, and there's a beast. These are actual inside beasts. We see them as going to be actual beasts. Just like you got actual reptilians that we see as humans. So, because what would a reptilian of the serpent knowledge be able to do if they're in the same family as a chameleon? But a chameleon could look like a tree and you can walk right past it and not see it. What do you think an actual knowledgeable, conscious being can do? Look like you. You know what I mean? Or something like you. Right? Cloak devices and all this other stuff, right? Like yeah, and so with all these different things, so now you can see I don't know if you heard the myth goes of the dog man, and like I know you heard of Bigfoot, right? Counts, all the counts come from Edom, which is Esau. The first counts, Count Dracula, all this like that, the vampires, yeah, right? And so now you ever heard the show Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
Okay, now one of the girls' name in that show was Petra. Petra is the city of Eden. And then you know it's Eden because they live in the mouths of the rocks, and they built in the rocks. So the tabernacle. So like we see the Washington Monument, and all this, the presidents and the stones and stuff like that. That's we know Edom is because Edom. Keep saying Edom. Edom is. We know what Edom is because Edom became Rome. Esau was born in Syria, ate raw meat, lived in the mountains, right? And he lived in a place called Edom, and then Edom became Rome, right? So when they was in Edom back in the day, they made it with the giants. They made it with the bestiality, because they what I told you, what would come to them, what apparitions would come to them too, animal apparitions in the wilderness. Right? That's why the God needed to lead Moses all them through the wilderness, because crazy things come at you through the wilderness. And so they was in the mountains and they was mating with all that stuff, eating red meat with them and everything. Like they eating the giants, bestiality. That's where you get Bigfoot from and all those the babies of them, right? And so, and that's later on in the bloodline. But the point here is to show you that Satan appeared to you as many things. He appeared to Adam as many things. Many things. He even threw a big comet at him. And guess what God did with the comet? When Adam was asleep, he made it a dome around him, dome of the rock. And there's also another cave where Abel and Cain was born at, which is, I believe, is the cave that they use and call it the Middle East. They call it the cave. I think that's this cave where they killed the Lord at. Then the cave of treasures. I think it's the same cave that killed the Lord at. And that dome of rock where he threw at Adam is right there too. And they worship that because we want to break it down in Sumerian, because Sin is the father of Ishtar, and Sin is the astral belt, the dark matter around Ishtar, around the moon. And they believe that fell to earth. And that dark matter is actually what's in that stone in Muslims, they walk around this dark matter in the stone. And that dark matter is called Sin. Another name for Sin is Allah. And his daughter is Alat, which is Ishtar. Another name for her is Mary. And who do Muslims kings say they're married to spiritually? Ishtar, Isis, any Mary, Keter, any of those names, they say they're married to spirit. They might have a wife in the flesh, but they say they're married to spiritually. It will be literally the Catholic queen, in many different names. Now you see these two's always been at war and warring and conquesting from the beginning, along with the Iranians. It was right, and you know how Greek mythology go into the Iranians? Because it's called Persia, because Persia is the one who conquered it. That's Greek mythology, right? Yeah, Persia. But people think that mythology is false, right? Matter of fact, I told you, after the flood, Gilgamesh goes and visits Utnapishtim. And Utnapishtim is Noah. Okay, right? And actually it's so funny because Gilgamesh had a buddy they put with him called Enkidu, who was half human and he was like a centaur, a mentor, or whatever, a minotaur, right? Later on in, what was it? It wasn't Medes, it was below Cyprus, where they had the Minotaur games down there. They used to feed people to the, man, you know the movie The Labyrinth, or the Maze Runner? Yeah. Yeah, that was something real, based off real life, when they would sacrifice people to the maze, and the Minotaur was a man with a bull head would run and get them, whatever. So now I'm gonna give you the element. You see how you see the animals and people, right? Then you see the walls of Egypt. You see the walls of Egypt. They try to do the same thing there, right? Now you see where it's coming from. Now you see why all the Sumerians and all the beginning worshipings was the worship of animals. The owl, the goat, right? You see, I keep going. The cat, because and so, and you know, Ishtar represented the Sphinx. She represented the cat people. So it's another thing. It's called the Lyrian-Orion War, the war between the reptilians and the Lyrian people. And the Lyrian was like ligers and cats, and I think you even had the eagle people, like the last movie Transformers. How they brought the eagle transformer and the monkey, you know. Okay, now let's go back. I'm just connecting a few things to go back to how we get the chaotic spirits being animals and why that's actually very important. we're going to hear that everybody is not humans, right? So just like he was telling Adam, bro, everybody ain't humans. Matter of fact, the first adultery was bestiality. Do not go and mate with those things down there, with them down there. They're not what you think, right? Okay, so now you had someone from after Cain and Abel, Cain go off. Now you got Cain out there in the wilderness too, and he's mating with them too, right? Okay, so now you got actually blood from a form of Antichrist mating with the serpent seed, right? And the apparition that you got out there, out of raw, animal, chaotic, horny spirits, right? This is where you get Homo erectus from, right? And then you have already, remember, Satan already told Adam he got kingdoms of people out there, right? Okay, things out there that he made, humans and stuff like that, right? And so you got all that out there, right? And so now, after Cain and Abel, you get Seth to replace Abel, right? And then the children of Seth, now man, they still all called angels, because God commune with them. Now the children of Seth, they keep going down to look at down the mountain. And you gotta remember, the children of Seth, and this is two generations, they ain't been through the same thing Adam went through so heavily, that Satan kept coming and killing him and tempting him in all these different forms, as animals, as things in the sky. And so what he was showing us, what they was showing us in that book, though, if they kept that book in, the reason why they had to take it out is because if we kept this book in, we would know all the ways that Satan approaches us. All the ways that he try to come in the form of light. He try to come as something in the sky. He try to come as an animal to harm you. He try to come, that's why we end up getting even more leverage with the animals, because of Satan. Like we already named them, they already supposed to harm us, but we even got more leverage because he manipulated animals. So we've got protection over them too. When he started coming to try to harm Adam with those animals. Adam they know how to eat, they know how to drink, they know what sex was, they know how to do none of that stuff like that. So nobody can say that, oh, he had sex with Eve. No, he possessed her. When she was eating apple, he was in the fruit. You know, you eat fruits with parasites in them. Okay, that's it. So now, when she has Cain, that's why she's now going through birth, and that's why she had pain. That's where the pain comes from. Because where did pain come from? You see what I'm saying? It would come from, the first pain would come from the serpent. And he showed you many times that basically all the first pains came from the serpent. Because he kept showing, God kept coming to say, hey, look, you was in the garden once, and I had you clothed. You didn't have to worry about no food, you didn't have to worry about no hunger, you didn't have to worry about no thirst. Though you can't eat and drink of the good sweetness that was in it, you had to worry about none of that stuff. And now look, he promised you these things, and look what he do. Every time he leads you, he leaves you, and he beats you, and deceives you, and he kills you and destroys you. Every single time it takes away from you. I didn't do none of those things to you. So he kept showing them like, you keep going down these paths, and every time you go these paths, he promised you all this glory and all this stuff like that. He leads you astray, and then he leaves you. And now you have nothing, and you're sick, and you're struggling, and you're cold, and you're out in the rain, and you never knew what rain was. Like, you see what I'm saying? You never knew what night was. It was afraid of the darkness. Like, you never knew what night, like, right? So he had to walk him through all that. So imagine, like, Adam he was like, bro, I don't want to do no wrong, because he was so close to the garden that he remembered the garden. So he didn't even want to walk right or walk left with sinning. He was like, nah, bro, I can't. I don't even want to. He was asking Lord, do I drink? I don't even want to drink. Eve, don't drink that water, bro. Don't drink the water. Nah, I don't drink the water. But he didn't know what dying of thirst is. So he was like, don't drink the water because I don't want to die. Because, you know what I mean? Like, we don't even like it. So he's dealing with, in this garden, in this place he's in, he's dealing with all these Satan apparitions coming up in him that can actually touch him, have sex with him, harm him and everything, right? And so now when you had the children of Seth, you had a line of Cain called a jinn mixed with them, called jinn. And this jinn was mixed with a Saturn, right? Okay, Jinnin, this was his name. And so he kept coming to the edge of the mountain, and he kept playing music. And the children, remember, they ain't been through none of this now. They've been through what they know, but they ain't been through what like something like them because they got their fathers over them to tell them what not to do. And the father kept telling them, don't go down there. Even Adam told Cain and Abel, they told Seth told his children, don't make with them, don't go down there. You don't go down there, right? So they ended up hearing this music. They kept running to the edge of the mountain, and they kept peeking over the mountain. And the genie, he was like, come down. No. Get from the mountain, come back. Ran back down. He kept hearing the music again, ran back down, look over the mountain. He's like, come down. So we don't know how. So remember I told you earlier, God told Adam to never go to the west. Don't go over there to the west, past the western border. Don't go over there. Something bad gonna happen over there. I'm gonna bring a flood and later. So, and a note on that. Remember I was telling you that the mountain is north, right? So we're looking at when we look at the map, how do we look at it? From the south. We look up, we're looking up, right? But we coming from the mountain, coming down off the mountain, we looking from the mountain south. So our west and east is reversed. Because from north, if the mountain was right here, coming from the mountain, west would be right here, east would be right here. You see what I'm saying? But when we look at the mountain, we're looking at it from down here, like civilization came from Antarctica. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if we coming from the mountain, which is where we came from, then west and east would be reversed. South would still be south, but west and east would be reversed. Right? Yeah. Exactly. So when I'm saying west and eastern borders, remember that. So remember that the western border is the border of Libya, the river Egypt, Libya, right? And that eastern border, around Detroit. That is the two borders of the garden, right? And then now, when the children go down the mountain, when he kept coming back to the mountain, he came back to the mountain one last time, and the children heard the music, and they saw horse races. It's all down there, like, hey, it's time to go party, right? So when they go down there to party, well, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. So he comes back again, and they say, we don't know how to get down there. And he finally say, hey man, you gotta come down this west side right here. You gotta come down the west side right here. So they go down one by one. You got Noah on the mountain. You got Enoch on the mountain. I don't know. I think Adam has already died. You got one more mountain. Methuselah. I mean, there's one more. I think it's Methuselah. One more. You got one more. You got another one on the mountain. One or two more on the mountain. Just a few more on the mountain. Right? I'm talking about as far as like the OGs. Like this is the children that we're talking about. So Seth and a couple of his forefathers were still there on the mountain. So they're going down the mountain. And they, by the time they look up and turn around, the children was going down the mountain one by one, bro. It's such a sad story, bro, because they're going down one by one with a smile on their face. They hear the music, they probably smell barbecue, all kinds of stuff going on, man. They see horse race, they see all kinds of stuff going on, right? They're going down one by one, bro, just with a smile on their face. And, they was called angels, because God communed with them. And they were still in the holy place. They wasn't in heaven no more, but they wasn't where they was going. You see what I'm saying? They're still on the mountain. And they're going down the mountain one by one. And just imagine, man, you in there working on your stuff, and you look up, and you look out the window, and you just see all your children going down the mountain. But they can't come back up, ever. And they doomed to hell. Like, this is over with. You see what I'm saying? They going down the mountain with a smile on their face. They don't even know. And then this is where you get the Nephilim. And right? And so then like another generation later, Jared's time, which is Noah's father is after Enoch. When they Anyway, this is the time when the ones who decided to go to mate with them, to have sex with them, to mate with them, and take them, was the Grigori, which you'll find in the book of Enoch on the fifth heaven. And Enoch tells you that, which Enoch 2 is on the mountain, he tells you that this is Grigori, the ones who are punished for the ones who went into man, right? The first ones. And guess how they look? Now to add to the children, remember to add me like beautiful to the children, like people. But really how they look was giant, basically apes with human faces. Right? Which this finna connect a little bit. Basically giant apes with human faces. They're the first ones who went into man. Then you had all the other ones who mixed with all they did. I think the first ones who did. And they got a special place for them in heaven. I mean, hell. I go back to do his scene. But he said this is their punishment as well. They're holding up something. But okay. And so now who would be their mother with all these chaotic spirits? The Leviathan, the devil. This is all the serpent seed. Right? You get what I'm saying? It's all the serpent seeds. All those who was down there trying to lure the kids up the mountain. And so the one who finally lured the kids up the mountain, like I said, is Jenny, right? And to them he appeared as beautiful. It's ain't right age, right? And he played the flute. Right? He played the flute. And sang and danced around and played the flute. And that's how they got down. They was lured down by the Jenny and played the flute. But how he really looked though. Like the goat, the one they worship. The man with the horns, and the goat, and the satire. He's a satire. That's where you get the goat from. That's who led the children off the mountain. That's why rappers perform on the platform, and they looking down, and you raise your hand to them. They're switching the place of the mountain, the plateau that the children was on that they went down. Right? Okay. And so, which is one of the reasons why Drake took in that video when the people turned to dogs. It's like, right? They just say, "Oh, your dogs get buried." Can't respond to them. Yeah, it should go deeper than what people think it is, right? Like it's a spiritual war here. So now, remember the first three that went into man was the giant apes with human faces, right? Now I told you their mother would be the Leviathan, the mother would be the Leviathan, the serpent, right? Of the waters. Leviathan is the ones that go back to the chaotic waters. These are the children, right? Tiamat became queen of them, which is another form of Leviathan, right? So what I'm trying to say is, so now you see these movies that focuses on Godzilla versus King Kong. Who did King Kong get? Who he's always trying to go and get? What did he want?
From Godzilla.
King Kong. What did he want? Not from Godzilla. What did he want in his movies? The white gorilla. Remember I said who they was mating with? The Petra and the city and the children of Edom, Attack on Titans. The anime, you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
That was mating with all that shit. So the giants look like what? Big giants with they was like had human faces with all hair. Some of them, right? Then you had some of them that was look like just regular people. That regular giants. Then you had some of them that was actually all ape, right? Like. These were the Grigori who went to man, right? So now you have, so that represents King Kong. That's why he wanted the woman. On way right, so he was wanting to win the woman. Planet of the Apes. What the Planet of the Apes is on the new cover is the little monkey with a white girl. Right? And so now you have the other movie is Godzilla versus King Kong. So we know who the Grigori is. We talk about who these big apes things supposed to be, right? The giant apes supposed to be, right? Now, so who is Godzilla? From the waters. The serpent of the waters. Godzilla is Leviathan. And in Sumerian text, who fought? They many times even beyond the Samaritans, they had many wars between his own kingdom. And because remember the Grigori, those giant monkeys with human faces, they rebelled. You know what I mean? They didn't want to work no more, so-called. That's what they say in the Samaritans. They didn't want to work no more, and they rebelled. Right? Then they had a big war. So that's why you see Godzilla versus King Kong. You know what I'm saying? Right? And then because her line was more of the reptilian line, and the other line of so-called, what they call the Samaritan animals was, or both of them together was more of the animals mixed in with it, and I guess they pay attention to one more than the other. Like that, and then they rebel because they want to work no more. Yeah. So that's what we see Godzilla versus King Kong. But then when you see Godzilla and King Kong working together, that's more towards the end times, where the mother and the son, they all the beast and the false prophet and the actual devil, you know, would be those would be the elemental, the chaotic animal representations of the family line, right? Then you got the ones we're gonna see with man and the false prophet, which will be some kind of false preacher or whatever, and the false, he's gonna come back as false God from the sky. So it's gonna be, the return gonna be in each elemental way, right? And we might even see the Leviathan in a giant monkey. Like we might even see that in our day. Like the Leviathan and the Grigori might come back. That's why I keep making movies about it. Like I don't doubt it, because they keep making movies about it. And then it's hinted at throughout the Bible about Leviathan and those being like days of Noah. We know it's gonna be like days of Noah in the end days. And all these days is happening in days of Noah. So which is why, like again, so you see the movie King Kong versus Godzilla. That's Grigori and Leviathan. You see? And so when you talk about everybody ain't human, no, everybody is not human. At all, like like everybody not human at all. Like it's great. That's why you got some people who eat red meat, raw meats, right? All kind of creepy crawlies, right? The penis of any animal. Like you already know what we talking about. The whole countries do that, like right? Snails and all kind of caviar, right? So right, like I'm just going around the country with it. But you see the weird things people eat. That like and I'll just say it goes to show the animalistic behavior that's there. And then who we know it's crazy because who we know, they want to do stereotypes us so much. We get stereotyped without even saying who it is. Who we know that have sex with animals. Then you gotta say the culture. There's only one group of people that, well, I ain't gonna say one group of people, but let's say it ain't black people who be on the news for having, nobody dark is on the news for having sex with animals. We don't mess with animals, we don't like, right? We not even, like over here, us, we not even that good. We ain't no hunters and stuff like that. We call people that turn red outside in the sun rednecks. That's what we call it. Now, if I seen right, I seen that Esau was described as red because they didn't have how you gonna describe when somebody's in the sun they turn red, very hairy, lived in the mountains, was a good hunter, and ate raw meat. Yeah, that sounds like a redneck to me. All right, you want to talk about, and then it makes sense because we are the two most modern variations of man. Like, because the Ishmaelites, our cousin the Ravens was before Jacob. So we come from Jacob, but Ishmael was born before us. Right, so the Arabs were before us as far as their identity, who they are coming from as far as Jacob was after him. So yeah, and then so Esau was born with us. Like I said, Esau became Edom became Rome. So we know that, you see what I'm saying, that we know who y'all are. And then Rome took all of us. Like, he ain't killed the Lord. He ain't killed the saints. And beheaded them and all this stuff like that. And we know that they're 10 toes. They never got conquered. They just came down to 10 toes. They are actually the 10 barbaric tribes. But in history, they turned around and called us the barbarians. Right? They call us all the barbaric tribes. But yeah, man. So look, Billy, Billy, I forgot his name, bro. I'll never remember his name. He was right on with that one though.
Parents, these people are here. They've always been here. We've never been alone. And the illusion that's painted by Hollywood on TV of these people that are coming and they look like they're monsters and they're going to eat you, that's conditioning. The true reality is they look just like us and we look just like them. People think I'm talking about...
Oh yeah, let me put that in order too, man, because people gotta know that Samaria comes after Adam and Eve. Like you don't get a Samaria without the children themselves coming to mate with all of them, and then becoming the Nephilim. Giants are born. So now we know why giants are born, right? Because the monkeys that look like humans to Adam and Eve was giants, right? So then this is why, and on the future they say that we come from what? Monkeys. But why wouldn't they say that? You know what I mean? It makes sense because they flip everything. So what they gonna say? They want to say we come from the serpent's line, and the only way they can, as far as they can go and say it, is say, oh yeah, y'all come from the one that made it with the Nephilim, the one that made it with the ones that came out and the monkeys that made it with them. Yeah, that's where y'all come from. See what I'm saying? Just like calling us African Americans. Yeah, that's where y'all come from. Just like, right? Just like Antioch. Right, getting the Greeks telling them you can't worship God no more, and y'all can live here, y'all can stay in y'all land, y'all gonna be called niggers, niggars, Nigars, niggars, right? Y'all gonna be called niggars, right? Matter of fact, where y'all live at, gonna be called Nigeria, right? And niggar, and nigger, it really is nigger, it really is Nigeria nigger, right? And y'all gonna call yourselves that. And so then you got our other brethren in the Northern Kingdom that was taken by the Moors, like Spain, and you know his Spanish, the Spanish of the slaves of the Spanish, Hispanics. So you got them calling themselves Hispanics, and you have us calling ourselves African Americans. You got the brothers that's in London calling themselves, Londoners, English, right? And then you got the brothers that when they fled and when the Seleucid Empire let them live in their places, when Antioch took over and call themselves niggers, and it took them from, they was already coming down from Greece, right? The ones that allowed themselves to be Hellenized, allowed themselves to be called niggers, but they was cool with that. The other ones like, nah. And so, niggas in Greek, it's the same thing. That was the Greek name, that's what they called them. Later on we say black. But, so that's why when they say neither Greek nor Jew, those Greeks that we're talking about was all literally calling themselves niggas. Like, that was the ones who were scared about the Seleucid Kingdom, right? Calling themselves niggas, and they lived there was Nigeria, Negro land, right? Upon them to call themselves Gentiles. It was forced to be Gentiles. They couldn't even worship God or believe in God, they would die. Right? And so now when after the Maccabees and all that stuff like that, after the last sack, when you had them now leaving there and seeking refuge and running down to Yemen and Ethiopia, we were talking about the Ashanti tribe. And I think the one in Libya, the one in Yemen started with it. Damn. The Ashanti tribe goes right back to Aaron, Moses, and still keep everything. Then you have the, like I said, the Yoruba, the Ebo, and which we just, the Ebo, it's his old name of Tokyo. So the Ebo really is like, it's black Japanese. So Ebo Nigeria. So, and then you got the Igbo, which is Hebo, and well, I'm missing Yoruba, Edo, Igbo. There's one more. There's another one. I'm missing another one. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm missing another one. But yeah, the shit. Yoruba, anyway, but yeah, those are all parts of that diaspora from that group And then the ones, and then so when the Roman Empire took over, and they came and started taking us by the help with the Moors. That's why some was taken to Spain and then London. Some were taken to the islands. And that's how you get a lot of tribe of Benjamin in the islands. So a lot of the Rosses last names are Dutch. Then you had the ones that was up with where King James was, Hellenized. And they was in the Ireland, Scotland, all that area, along with their cousins, the Danites, which were the Vikings. When they took over that area, which they had already had left because they wasn't they didn't like the land that they was getting when the tribes was dividing land with Moses, and they couldn't beat the Philistines, so they already left by ship and went up north and went around over there to the Isles. North to where, of course, Nigeria's down here, right? North, they was up there. But they was conquering and taking over and doing their thing too, slightly, and then they had a big whole war, right? The Maccabees was doing their thing. But so you had the Jews, you had some people already up there called Jutes and all these other names, right? And so you had all them up there, and they was in the Scottish, Irish, that's what all these places are issues, right? I told you, the Jews that came and took Jerusalem called themselves Jewish. So all the houses of the Ireland, which was Asherland, and you had the tribe of Dan, which is called Dansmark, right? All that was our cousins. Those are tribe names, right? You had Anglo-Saxons. My last name is Anglo-Saxons, or Anglo-Saxons, angelic children of Isaac, right? And so the capital was Anglo, and it was Anglican. We spoke Anglican, Old English, right? Old English. Right? You dropped it, like I told you about letters, you dropped the A in that what? I-E in English. Right? I or E. So now we spoke Anglo, now we speak English. We lived in Ireland, now it's Irish. Or we live in Ashland, now it's Irish. They dropped the A in that I. And you see how this is going now. You get a Danish biscuit, you think of a white person, but the Dan is our cousin, dark, like us. Right? But now they call it Danish, or Danish. Now you see now, like they took over Jerusalem, they call it Jewish. You see what I'm saying? Like Queen Khalifa was over there. But the people who live there now call themselves Californians. But they're not really Californians, see what I'm saying? They call the Mexicans Mexicans. But if you know more, you would know that Meshi and Moshe means Moses. Mexico is a company of Moses, and New Mexico is a company of Moses, as Moses and the children was lost and leaving and fleeing out of the capital of old Egypt, was Memphis. They're fleeing over here, and this is why you get also they tell the whole story down there, because that's literally the story of Pharaoh chasing.
hands full of passion tonight. Skin glow got me under your body. Even though there's no sunshine, I'm breathing life. Deep breaths will open my lungs. To your scent, there's no comparison. Even though you're before my eyes, I'm thinking about you all the time. Cause it only makes sense when it makes to you. Tell me baby, that's a straight out to life. Cause it only makes sense if you want me to. Tell me baby, you don't reciprocate. Tell me baby, you don't Said I need you close. I need you close, baby. Said I need you close. Yeah. Said I need you close. Yeah. I need you close. Yeah, yeah. Said I need you close.